4th grade orchestra. One of the unique things about playing an orchestra this year that you didn't do last year in 3rd grade was sit down. So the first thing we're going to talk about is the safe way to handle your chair. Now your chair may or may not look like the one in the video, but they should all be handled the same. We want to keep you, your neighbors, and all the instruments safe. So the first rule about moving chairs, if you are asked to move a chair or set up a chair, you should do it with your hands empty. So before you move any furniture, put your instrument and your music down in a safe place so that they don't get damaged and they're not in the way of people moving furniture around. So when you move a chair, you should use 2 hands. You can see on this blue chair, I'm going to use one hand on the back and one hand on the seat and move it this way. You want to keep it down low at your center of gravity. Never ever lift your chair up that way. You could really hurt somebody if you hit them with the legs of the chair. And don't carry it with one hand because it's swinging around. It could hit a cello or hit somebody's knees or something and hurt somebody or something. So always use 2 hands to carry your chair. If you have one of these red chairs, you've got a handle in the back you can use and one hand on the seat. Again, carry it in front of you, center of gravity, and not up over your head. The black chairs that are stacked, if you have one of those are a little bit heavier. So again, it's really important that you use 2 hands to handle it, and make sure if you're taking the chair off a stack that there's room around you before you move it, so you're not swinging a chair and hitting somebody. Now, once you get your chair set up, then it's time to carry your instrument to your chair. Now, violin and viola players, you're used to carrying instruments around like you did last year, but just as a review, remember these are right-handed cases. Doesn't matter if you're left or right-handed. The case is designed to be in your right hand. You carry it by the handle. You carry with the back of the violin, and this particular violin has little bumps. That's the bottom. It's against your leg, and you carry it to your chair. When you go to your chair, you step in front, have a seat, and then the instrument goes on your right side. So it should be on the side of your body that uses the bow. You will then want to lay it down flat this way, and that's how you put a violin or viola down on the floor. It should not be on the floor in front of your feet, because that's where your feet are going to go. If you're going to be sitting well in your chair, you've got to have room to put your feet in the ground. So the case goes on the right side of your chair. Now cellos, your instrument is a little trickier to carry around. And why is that? Yeah, it's bigger. It's bigger and heavier. So also, the cello case is a soft case, so it doesn't have the protection on it like a violin does. A violin's like a crab. It has the shell on the outside, so the inside is protected. The cello is more like a mammal. The hard part, the bones, are in the inside, and it's soft on the outside. So a cello can get bruised very easily. So there are a couple of safe ways to carry it. Number 1 is carry it by the handle in your right hand, just like you're carrying the violin or viola case in your right hand, cello in your right hand. And then the back or the flat side of the cello is against your body, and it's really important that the pump, which is the bridge, is facing out so that it's not banging on your knees as you're walking along, because it's very easy to knock that cello bridge over since there's nothing hard on the outside protecting it. You do have to be careful when you're carrying a cello that you don't let it swing around, because that's a good way. If you hook that neck on something and swing it around, you're going to end up snapping the neck off, and that would be really, really sad. Another way to carry it is an even safer way. Is what you do is you keep a hold of the handle in your right hand, but you bring it up and then hug the neck with your left hand. And that's putting the cello in front of you, and the bridge is in front of you, so it's not going to bang on the doorway or on a chair or a music stand or somebody else beside you in the hall. It keeps the cello much safer this way. This is the only way you should carry a cello on the school bus. So once you get to the bus, you're going to have to lift it up, hug it with your left hand, walk up the steps, walk down the aisle of the bus, holding it this way. When you hold it this way and you're trying to get on the bus, that makes you too wide and you're going to bang the bridge on something, like the back of a seat. If you also, when you're walking down the aisle like this, it's real easy for your cello to swing around, get hooked on the back of a seat, and then wham, you're going to end up breaking it. So this is the school bus hold. This is the only way you should carry your cello on the bus when you're getting on and getting off. This is also the way you should be carrying it through the doorway. So when you arrive at school and the doors are open, carry it this way until you get in. Once you get in this school hallway and there's some room for you, it's okay to put it down. Just be careful you're watching on either side and giving yourself lots of room. When you play the cello, your personal space is a lot bigger than a violin or viola player because you've got the personal space of your cello and you to be concerned with. Now, some of the cases, the cello cases, have backpack straps. These are okay, but there's, especially if you're walking to school, but there's a couple of things you need to watch out for. First of all, and this is the most important thing, when you put it up on your body and you get one arm through, it's really important that you don't swing it around this way, because not only is that unsafe for you, but you could easily take out a bunch of kindergartners all around you. So you're knocking children down and you're hurting the cello at the same time. So you have to look and make sure there's plenty of room, and then you can put it up on your shoulder. If you are particularly tall and carrying it this way, please watch the doorway as you go through. If there's someplace low, especially the school bus, you don't use this on the school bus because you'll hit it on the doorway and again knock you backwards or snap that neck off. Then once you get where you need to be, you have to carefully slip it off, watching your neighbors all the time to make sure you're not bumping anybody. Grab the handle as soon as you can and then grab it by the neck, and that will keep your cello safe. Something else that's really important about both the cello and even the violin and viola is you never ever lean your instrument. I've seen so many times people have taken a chair and leaned their instrument against a chair, and it slips off and falls, and the cello is almost guaranteed to break. The violin and viola can be damaged even inside the case, because that sudden bang on the floor can knock the sound post down on the inside or knock the bridge over. So do not lean your instrument on a chair. You always put it down, and then you put it down like this on the side, or you can also roll it back on the back. It's stronger and safer to be on the side. When it's this way, it's easier to get the cello stepped on and broken, so it's best to put it on its side. Now, we talked about violin and violas go on the right side of the chair. Cellos go on the left side of the chair. So it goes on the left. That way when it's time to play, you just grab it by the neck, up you go, and you've got your cello in your hand. It doesn't go over here and then you flip hands around and you get tangled up with your bow and everything. Just grab and go. So violin and viola's on the right, cello's on the left. And remember, you're facing opposite of me, so you have to think about what that means for your own body. Now, violin and viola players, you pretty much know how to take your instrument out of the case. I do want to warn you, when you're sitting in a chair, you have to be careful about putting your instrument on your lap. I'm fairly tall and the chair is not especially tall, so when I make a lap, my lap is flat. So it's pretty safe. I still want to be sure that I snug the case against my body, and when I open it, I lay the lid back this way. What you have to be careful about is if you're not really tall and the chair is tall, your lap is going to slope, and then when you put it on there, it's going to fall off. So in that case, if you can't make a flat lap or you feel unbalanced or uncomfortable putting here, then you can open it up on the floor and do it this way. So you always want to consider what is safest for your instrument. Now, cellos, we have to be really picky about your instrument because your case is soft, and it's really easy to damage. So I want to talk to you about an acronym called FOLI, and that's F-O-L-I, and those letters stand for the word first out, last in. So when you're taking your cello out, what do you think you should take out first? If you said bow, you are right. The bow is always the first thing to come out. Now, as new cello players, you should not be sitting in a chair to unpack. When you unpack, you should be getting down on the floor with your instrument. And lay your cello down flat, then you will go ahead and slide your bow out. Now this particular case doesn't have a bow in it, but your cello will. You just take it and slide it all the way out and then set it aside under your chair out of your way. If you leave the bow in the case when you take the cello out, the cello case is soft and it kind of crumples up, and you can end up crumpling up your bow, which would be a disaster. So FOLI, first out, last in. Now, while you're on your knees, then you open up your case. Now, I wish I had a idea of how many different kind of cello cases there are. This is sort of like going to a shoe store. How many different kinds of shoes do you see when you go to the store? There's a lot of kinds of cello cases. Some of them are more convenient than others, but we just learned how to deal with the case that you are given. I can always help you if you need help with tips on getting your cello out. Now this one doesn't open all the way. Some of my favorite are the ones that open all the way. It's the easiest to get out. This one opens part of the way, and then up here at the top, the scroll part of the cello is stuck inside. So you have to be sure that you lift it and then carefully slide that out of there so you're not hooking the tuners or the pegs on the top of the case, because if you just give it a big yank, you could end up yanking your strings out of tune. So once you get your cello out, then put it safely, and then what you should do, and this is another reason why your bow should be out, to make more room for me to get around to help you, and for students to move around too, we're going to get the cello case out of the way, and you can just fold it up, tuck it under your chair, and then you are good to go. So that's how you take the cello out of the case. And then you can get up, you take your cello, and you're going to take it, and you're going to swing it bridge out and bridge to the left to the side like that. So when you're sitting in the chair, the bridge should not be facing you. It's either facing forward or it's facing to the left. And that's why we want the cello on the left, so we can just grab it and come up this way with your left hand and back down with your left hand. And that's how we move the cello around. Now, at the end of the class, the first thing everybody should do before you start packing up, do you know what that is? If you said loosen your bow, you are correct. It's really important that the first thing you do is loosen your bow. If we leave the bow tight all the time, it can get weakened and crack at the tip. It can also crack down at the frog. So we tighten it when it's time to play, but when we're done, we loosen it and put it away. So violin and violas, you loosen your bow, you gently slide it in the case, make sure that it's fastened in, either hook it or turn the spinner or however your case works to fasten your bow in. Cellos, you will also loosen your bow first, and then you put it on the music stand if you have one, or on the chair underneath you out of your way, because remember, the bow is the last thing to go in. And then cellos, when it's time to pack up, get down on the floor, get your case open, and then make it as flat as you can. Have the zippered opening facing you instead of trying to lean over and put it in upside down. That's not much fun. And then you gently slide it in. You want to carefully fit the top around your pegs. You want to make sure that the end pin is in. You want to loosen it and stick it all the way in, and then tighten the screw again. Some of you will have cases with a hole on the end that your end pin goes in. Some of you, like this case, you zip half, and then the end pin is open. You want to make sure that you zip it, so I'm going to zip this side up to the end pin. And make sure it's all unfolded there. And then this side to the end pin, and it's backed up. If you have one of the cases with the holes on the end, you'll also have to get down on the ground, carefully fit that end pin inside the hole. Once you've done that, then you open the case and slide your bow in. You'll pick it up and choose your favorite, safest way to carry your instrument. And that's one of the things you should practice at home, cellos. You should practice the 3 different ways of carrying your case. Remember, you have the handle style, in your handle, flat part against your body, and that's, if you have backpack straps, that helps. That's the back, so you want the back against your body. And the bridge, which is the hump, facing up. So that's handle style. Then you've got bus style, which is up this way. You're carrying your cello down the hallway at home. That is probably the best way to carry it there too. And then you have backpack style. Notice I'm not going to put mine on yet because I looked back and I'm a little close to that chair. So I'm going to move the chair back so I have plenty of room. And then I will carefully put the backpack strap on one side, look around me, make sure I'm not going to hit anybody when I swing it up, and then put it on the other side. Now, if you're just going, 1 or 2 doorways down the hall, I wouldn't fool with a backpack. That takes more time to get it on your body and off than it does getting to class. If you're walking a ways, like say from the parking lot to your classroom, then you might want to do backpack style. Remember though that you will also have a backpack for your school things, and you can't put both on, and it doesn't work very good to have your cello on the front because there you are and you can't see where you're going. It doesn't work very well to have your cello on your back and your backpack on your front because that's going to make you really heavy, and so you might want to consider just using your backpack for your back and carrying your cello this way. One of the most challenging parts of playing a cello is getting used to carrying it around. I will be honest with you, it is a hassle to carry around. It's awkward, it's heavy, and so a lot of people, they start out cello, this is a gorgeous instrument, and then they get tired of carrying it and they want to quit. Cello is a fantastic instrument. If you are the kind of person that is up for challenges, that can face challenges and persevere, you're in for a real treat because this is a gorgeous instrument. So don't give up just because it's kind of a hassle to carry around, because you'll get used to it, your body will get used to it, and hey, when you get to middle school, you don't have to carry your cellos anymore because they have a set of cellos at school. You can use one at school and have one at home to practice, and then you don't have to carry it back and forth. Sorry, violin and violas, you carry yours around with you, but they're much easier to transport than a cello is. So that's a quick lesson on handling your instrument, and we will talk more about this in class, and I'm looking forward for the time when we actually not only learn how to take them out of the case, but start making music with them. See you later. Bye-bye.